Greetings and welcome to part 7 of the Second Life Terms of Service. I should have cleared my throat before I begin. Just one moment, please. Okay, right. So, in this part 7, we are going to go over the community standards. And let me just turn around here and you can see the community standards is actually a part of the terms of service. A lot of people see them as separate entities, but they are the community service is part of the terms of service, and the terms of service is within the community standards. Most of the things in the community standards people don't realize, and they're quite basic behaviors. So, let's get to it, shall we? Again, this is Second Life Terms of Service, Part 7, Community Standards, which follows Part 6, that was the previous video. So the two go together. Anyway, let's get to it. Community Standards. Sorry. Community Standards. Linden Lab offers users the ability to create and share content and fosters communities for users to interact with each other and freely express themselves through Linden Labs' various interactive products and services. To help promote respect, peace, and an enjoyable experience for all users, this set of community standards applies to all products, services, and environments offered or hosted by Linden Lab, including but not limited to its websites, servers, software, forums, and blogs, as further defined in the terms of service, the service. And we went over that in part 1. These standards set out actions that could result in restrictions on your access to the service up to and including account termination. So, when you get the people who use the terms of service itself as a bullying tactic to say, oh, that's against the TOS, which we went over in the previous video, part 6, they don't realize that what they're doing is against the community standards terms of service. So they're actually breaking terms of service themselves when they accuse you or threaten you or intimidate you or bully you into fearing them, because they've put the fear into you that they're going to report you for whatever it is you're doing because it's against the TOS. However, that action that they're doing towards you, they're breaking the TOS themselves. And again, the community standards is included in the terms of service. Just because you have the terms of service all listed on its own web page and the community standards all listed on its separate web page, it does not mean that you cannot get in trouble by Linden Lab, because these standards, the community standards, set out actions that could result in restrictions on your access to the service up to and including account termination. Let's begin. Behavioral standards. Intolerance. Linden Lab encourages social interactions between users across multiple countries. The use of derogatory or demeaning language or images based on race, ethnicity, gender, religion, or sexual orientation is prohibited. Actions that marginalize, belittle, or defame users or groups are similarly prohibited. Harassment. Harassment can take many forms, communicating or behaving in a manner that is offensively coarse, intimidating, threatening, or causes annoyance or alarm is not allowed. Now, I will highlight this. Harassment can take many forms. Yes, even the soft touch type of harassment. Others may regard that as hazing by a limited amount of verbal abuse or um, saying that you look like crap and think it's funny. And then when you defend yourself, they always try to buffer it all out by saying, "Oh, I was just joking." Whatever. That is a form of harassment, and it's ugly. Communicating or behaving in a manner that is offensively coarse, intimidating, threatening, or causes annoyance or alarm is not allowed. So, when you get that person who thinks they know all about the terms of service and you upset them for whatever reason and you're well within your right, just one moment. Sorry about that. I've got the nervous voice today. Yeah, because it's been a while since I've recorded a video, so pardon the nervousness. Nervousness. And those people, the intimidating ones that think they know all about the terms of service, and they use their questionable knowledge to intimidate you or to threaten you or to stop whatever you believe that you are well within your right. I mean, like voicing your opinion, right? Now, we all need to be a decent human, and we all need to adhere to a certain societal level of decent human behavior. Like, if you can't say anything nice, then don't say anything at all. However, you get some outspoken people in Second Life, and they have a right to speak their views and their opinions, however, in a manner that is not offensive to others. You have to have some tact. Now, even these types of people, I'm sorry, not types, but even these people are often attacked by these que- highly questionable know it all terms of service people who are intimidating. And because they don't like what another person's doing, then they'll bring down the heavy threat of, I'll report you to LL, it gets a toss, and your account will be shut down. That is a form of intimidating and threatening behavior. That's harassment, and it's not allowed. So basically, it's, oh yeah, you think you can report me? I can report you. You know, moving on. Assault. Any act of violence toward a user's avatar, including an act of intimidation or bullying, such as repeatedly shooting or pushing, will not be tolerated. Creating or using scripts that singularly or persistently target a user and prevent a user's enjoyment of the service is also not allowed. Now, read this carefully. Any act of violence toward a user's avatar, including an act of intimidation or bullying, such as, griefing, like shooting or pushing, toward a user's avatar, it's including the shooting and the pushing. But for it to include that, it's not ruling out other acts of intimidation or bullying, such as voice bullying. Um, yeah, when you're on voice and you're speaking and you might be shy or nervous and you get somebody stepping all over your voice, being loud and boisterous, and they just kind of, you know, push you out of the conversation. Now, that's included as well because you're speaking through your avatar. And a lot of people, I don't know, maybe I should do a whole video on the whole voice and in Second Life. But anyway, moving on. Invasion of personal space, comfort zones. It is important to respect the personal space of another user, a user's avatar. We strongly encourage you to be mindful of your movement, hand gestures, and your avatar's positioning relative to other avatars. Hand gestures. Yes. Avatar hand gestures. Mhm. The really gross and rude and gruesome ones. Oh, yeah. Even in local chat, yeah, you could be reported for that because it could be seen as randomly targeted people in public. Any act of violence toward a user's avatar, including an act of intimidation or repeating, like hand gestures, yep, against the community standards. Inappropriate content. All content, activity, and communication within the service must adhere to the content guidelines, including but not limited to abiding by any limitations on the type of content permissible in certain areas of the service. In Second Life, adult content is only permitted on private regions designated as adult and on the mainland continent Zendra. Private regions designated as adult will be filtered from non-verified Second Life accounts. Now, this section here, inappropriate content. Okay, I have been on G-rated Sims and I've seen stuff that shouldn't be there. I've been on moderate Sims and I've seen stuff that shouldn't be there. I've been on adult Sims and I've seen things that shouldn't be there, like the whole child play type of stuff and things of that nature. Right. Now, regarding inappropriate content, uh, personally, I've only seen it enforced back in the day. Nowadays, I don't see it enforced that much. Um, but, you know, I do know that most people, especially on the mainland, they do adhere to the ratings of Sims. When it comes to private regions, well, yep, that's their own business. If you're paying that much for a region, then, well, you could do what you like, but you've got to follow the rules too, so there's like a balance. Moving on. Disclosure. Ah, this is a big one. Oh yeah, this is a big one. Yeah. Disclosure. Sharing personal information about other users, either directly or indirectly, without their consent, including but not limited to gender, religion, age, marital status, race, sexual orientation, alt- alternate account names, including account statuses, such as whether it's on hold, suspended, or active, and real world location beyond what is provided by them in their user profile is not allowed, except for the purpose of reporting abuse or any violation of policies to Linden Lab. The remote monitoring, posting, or sharing of conversations without a participant's consent are prohibited. Now, this part here, this sentence in the last paragraph here. Now, in the previous video, part 6, I went over the terms of service where it states this same thing. However, it was only geared to Linden Lab employees. The only thing stated in the terms of service when it comes to sharing conversations or personal information about others, it is only directed clearly, and it says it several times, at Linden Lab employees. Regarding other users, it is not in the TOS, it is here in the community standards. So, now let's just go over this again. Sharing personal information about other users, either directly or indirectly without their consent. Let's say that I'm having a conversation with someone on my friends list and they ask me where another friend is. And I tell them, oh, well, they're on vacation. Yeah, I'm sharing information about someone else to someone else. And in Second Life, considering that it's Second Life and we all talk about things, about different things and people, you know, such as in the physical world. Yeah. How is that enforced? How is that enforced? That's where common decency comes in. Okay, now moving on to including but not limited to gender, religion, age, marital status, race, sexual orientation, alternate account names, whether they're active or on hold or suspended, or real world locations. So anything that isn't in a person's profile, which is public, if you take what you know about that person and you share it, then that is prohibited because it's not with the participant's consent. But it does not say, um, it doesn't have any restraint, like any boundaries to where the sharing of information you do. That is really hard to do. I mean, basically, um, even amongst friends, like, oh, well, how old is Matt? Can't tell you. It's against community standards. You'll have to ask him yourself. Yeah, I could totally respect that, right? Same for marital status and race and sexual orientation and all of that stuff. It is up to the person to divulge those things about them. But here's the thing: once you do that, Please don't live in some fake utopian world that that other person is going to hold all your secrets and not share any information they know about you to someone else in however way they want to. No, it's Second Life after all, and it's on the internet, and we're all humans. So, whatever you tell somebody, you have to be careful. If you don't want other people knowing, then tell no one at all. No. And also, while I'm on this little section here, when it comes to logging conversations, if you don't want someone else to know, if you don't want it published, then don't type it. You're better off saying it in voice. I know your voice can be recorded, but that's effort. And if people are going to dish you or do mean things or whatever, they're going to do so with as little effort as possible. Moving on. Disturbing the peace, global attacks. Linden Lab aims to provide users with an enjoyable experience on the service. Please be mindful that your actions may cause slow server performance or may inhibit another user's ability to enjoy the service. Examples of prohibited attempts to disturb the peace include, but are not limited to, manipulating scripts, repeated transmission of undesired content, that's griffing, all this is griefing, spawning items, disrupting events or user conversations, such as through the use of repetitive sounds, causing echo effects, or unmuting your mic when it should be muted. Spamming, such as the repeated posting of advertising or self promotional content, posting interpersonal disputes or personal negative commentary publicly when such communication should occur through private channels of communication. See? See? If you've got some drama, keep it in your IMs or write a note card, a non transferable note card. Yeah, and give it to the person. This happens a lot on voice, and it really is annoying. I mean, if you're that desperate to tell your tales of woe to others who are clearly not interested, then yeah, get yourself a YouTube channel. Moving on. Blaming, such as hostile or disruptive posts intended to incite an angry response or to encourage others to violate Linden Labs policies. That's trolling. And abusing Linden Lab personnel or moderators as applicable on a forum operated by Linden Lab, such as reposting content that has been removed, suspended, or locked, or posting content that questions a moderator's decision or competence as applicable on a forum operated by Linden Lab. Objects, scripts, or actions that interfere with or disrupt the service, servers, or other systems related to the service will not be tolerated in any form. You will be held responsible for any actions taken by or caused by objects or scripts that belong to you or your account. Yeah, we all know about when you AR someone who's who's griefing, the amount of times that person gets to AR, then it's more likely LL will do something about it. But if you're like on your own, or if there's like a small number of you and you AR against a person, then it won't gain priority, and so Linden Lab won't do anything about it. Moving on. Impersonation. Impersonation of another user, stealing another user's identity, or claiming recognition for content created by another user, or all strictly prohibited. Additionally, the impersonation of a Linden Lab employee will result in an immediate account termination. Right. Okay. Now, enforcement. What happens to you if these above things happen? Warning, suspension, and termination. I don't know what's wrong with my mouse. It's not. Okay. In most cases, a user's first violation of the community standards will result in a warning. If there are future violations, the user's accounts may be suspended and ultimately terminated if the behavior persists. Buyer beware. Linden Lab does not exercise editorial control over and is not obligated to review the content offered through the service. We will investigate and respond to all properly filed intellectual property complaints pursuant to the Intellectual Property Infringement Notification Policy, which I went over in part two, I think. Additionally, Linden Lab does not certify or endorse the operation of any games, vending machines, or retail locations offered on the service. Any refunds must be requested from the owners of such objects directly. Skill gaming is illegal in my state. So, yeah. But, others, it's not. Reporting abuse. Linden Lab strongly encourages users to report violations of the community standards or any other policies. Linden Lab reviews all such reports of abuse and will keep the identity of the reporter strictly confidential. If you encounter content that violates these guidelines, you can report abuse as follows. And then you have a link. You gonna well, okay. So that is the community standards. It is serious and it really breaks down behavioral standards, which is the biggest part of people misrepresenting their knowledge about the TOS. Yep. And there is enforcement, the same type of enforcement as there is on the terms of service. Please do not make the mistake thinking that the community serve that I say I mean please do not make the mistake that because something is listed in the community standards does not mean that it is less important than what is stated in the terms of service. So I hope that explains a lot. And the next time someone, man, okay, wow, my mouse, I think I got a crumb in it. Who knows? But yeah. So the next time someone threatens you or does the whole, that's against the TOS, I'm going to report you, da 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 da. Well, yeah, you can report them under the community standards guidelines. And ask them, oh, have you read the community standards? Because I'm telling you, a lot of people have no idea what that is. So if somebody wants to get quote unquote legal on you, well, you can get legal on them back. Right? I hope you enjoyed this. And next for part 8. Yes, I can't remember offhand what that would be, but it will be section 8. No, it will be that will be section 7 of the terms of service. added the community standards as part 7 to go along with with section 6 of the terms of service. Okay, well, I've bantered enough. Thank you. I really do hope you learned something. If you have any questions or want something explained further, just comment below in the comment section, and all the information about links to the community standards page and the previous videos of the terms of service parts will be listed in the show notes. Okay, thank you, and see you later. Bye.